Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 13, Boom.
Boom. So, Mariah, how was your week?
It's been good. Pretty boring, but I'm really tired today for some reason. So
Yeah.
I'll try to cut out any yawns in the
From
editing
both of
process.
us.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a really funny sounding one, then you should leave it in.
Yeah. How was your week?
Mine was mostly okay. We had to do some like blood work for my dog Penny again because she had like some weird elevations when we were trying to do her like pre-spay blood work, and so we did it again, and she had the same elevations. So we were like, okay, cool. So now we have to like run a few more tests. We don't have to do another blood draw, luckily, but even though everybody at work is like obsessed with her, when I bring her in, they walk past and she's just like sitting in her little run, and she's got that like pity smile, so she like squints her eyes and like just wags her whole body at everybody who walks past. But yeah, so we have to do a couple more tests to see what that is. So
Oh boy.
it's a really good thing that I work at a vet clinic and get a discount, because this girl she would be bleeding me dry otherwise.
Yeah. Oh
So.
boy, that's one thing that I am like worried about getting another pet, because when I had a pet before, it was literally just a pet mouse.
Yeah.
And I got in so much debt because of that pet mouse.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's so funny because you'll have some pets that live forever and don't cost you anything, and then some pets that are like, they just have everything wrong with them.
Yeah.
It's really, it's wild. Because like Juliet is 14 now, and she's never had anything wrong with her. Like, she's never been sick. She's always been fine, as far as I know, you know.
Yeah.
But then like her brother Boots cost me like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes, I remember.
And now Penny's like only a year old, and she's cost me, I don't even know how much. So
Pets.
yeah, but we love them.
Imagine if we had human children.
Oh, thank fuck. Yeah, no, I'm good on that.
Same.
No,
like,
thank
obviously.
you. Yeah. In case y'all didn't get that.
All right. So, this episode was written by Nora and Leela Zuckerman and directed by Billy Gerhardt.
Nice. Okay, the names sound familiar. Are they? How are
They're
Nora
sisters.
Sisters. Okay, cool. I feel like you've told me that before, but I had to make sure.
They for sure are one of the people who reached out to me after that video of mine went viral about my dad.
Cool. Well, so excited to be talking about one of their episodes then.
Yeah.
All right. And in case they're listening, I'm very sorry about some of the things that I said. Anyway, okay. So we meet a couple new characters, but they're pretty familiar. So, first off, Agnes Kitsworth, who I know I saw her somewhere before. And then Tucker Shockley, who all I could think was, karma's a bitch. You should have known better. All right. So, start off, Coulson is talking to a waiter at an outdoor restaurant in Spain. nope, wait, just kidding. The waiter walked away. So Coulson is talking to himself? Maybe? Question mark?
I wrote down at that point, like, can that waiter not hear him?
Literally.
He doesn't speak English at all. Like, this guy is just sitting outside at a restaurant talking to himself.
I would have been, even if you don't speak the language, to somebody's like talking and like just staring straight ahead at you. I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think he's falling apart.
For sure he is. So Mac asks on the comms if he's talking to him, and Coulson says no. He was talking to May. Okay. And he says May would tell him to stay on mission. And we just like gloss over this whole thing. That was very weird.
Average Coulson behavior.
Yeah, totally. And for him to be like, I'm talking to May, when he's also simultaneously being like, I refuse to accept that she's not alive. Like,
yeah,
she is somewhere on this earth and I will find her and she will be alive. But also I'm talking to her in the ethos.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Mac and Coulson are trying to find a woman who walked away from her old life, but could lead us to where to find May. Mac finally gets confirmation that they found her once they see her face. Ada was a real person first? My brain hurt. The Ada that we know finishes showing Radcliffe what she's built for May's simulation world, and it is apparently a literal world. And just, I've said it so many times now, this is so terrifying. This is my worst nightmare. And it hurts my brain, and I don't like it. But, anyway. Then, Ada and Radcliffe find the watchdogs in another room of the submarine waiting for him. Except they don't want Ada in the room, so they very rudely tell her to fuck off.
So they do hate robots. That
Yeah.
at least makes more sense in my brain.
Absolutely. That was very confusing. For them to be like, we hate everything that's not human, but you're fine? What?
Yeah.
So Ivanov tells Radcliffe that he read the Darkhold, even though Radcliffe specifically told him not to. Ivanov says, relax, I just glanced at it. And it did give me the answer to ending in humans. You. Which is so romantic. Oh my god. Unfortunately, he just meant the Terrigen crystals that Radcliffe has been growing. So, I guess it's not a rom-com episode this time, except it got pretty horny. So,
Yeah.
It kind of was.
Kinda, yeah. So, I'm not sure if I have talked about this before, but when I was working at the library, I found this 3D printed Terrigen crystal, like, pattern
Oh, wow.
that we made on the printer at work
That's so
at my
cool.
old job.
I love it.
So I thought, you can't see it unless you are a subscriber. So subscribe for $3.99 if you would like to see.
Give us $3.
Wait, no, it's $2.99. My bad.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Give us $3 and to see her 3D printed crystal. It's really
Yes.
lovely. I do feel like you've mentioned it before, but I don't think you've shown it before.
Well, I showed it this time.
You did it.
Hell yeah.
And worth the wait. Wow. So at S.H.I.E.L.D., Fitz is working on an LMD scanner for the base, but it's still a little too strong. It beeps at almost any metal, and they can't have that. Coulson's got a prosthetic hand, for God's sake. Which, honestly, I love that he thought of that. that he's thinking about disabilities and being inclusive, and I love that.
Yeah.
Simmons is doing some testing on director Mace, and luckily for us, that includes him being shirtless on a treadmill, and just, wow. Very impressive. Good job, Jeff. Unfortunately for him, what she's learned is that his Unfortunately for him, what she's learned about his super serum is that it is potentially lethal. So every time he takes an injection, he has a greater risk of going into cardiac arrest. Jeff is very disappointed at this news because he's been struggling so much to find his place on this team, and without being to fight with them, he feels like even more of an outsider.
So Simmons, after he explicitly asks her to sugarcoat it, tells Mace, "You'll never be Captain America." In the comics, though, Jeff Mace did act as Captain America during the period where Steve Rogers was frozen in ice.
Wow. I guess she was telling all the comic book readers, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not going with that story.
Yeah. That would have been wild.
Yeah, for sure. Also in this scene was the start of just so many football references.
Oh my god.
So, it got a little much, honestly. What were there? I was about to say Zuckerbergs, but they were Zuckermen. Okay. Zuckermans. Oh my god. We get it. And then, just in time to make Mace feel even worse, Fitz arrives to present his newest super suit. It features a belt buckle injection system for the serum.
No, Fitz.
Simmons finally gets Fitz to shut up because she tells him that Jeff can't take the serum anymore. And then Jeff, thankfully for him, is called away to the next thing on his schedule. I did think it was weird, though, that he was, like, running in dress pants.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting real sweaty, and he was in dress pants and dress shoes. That was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's very interesting.
Anyway, so Daisy is just finishing up a meeting to relocate all of the Inhumans that they are aware of. Jeff reminds her that through the Sokovia Accords, the government has the right to know the locations of all Inhumans, so Senator Nadir is not going to be happy about this. Daisy says, that's where Jeff comes in. He is going to make as many calls as it takes to the UN to get them on our side. And all that bureaucratic bullshit that he is so good at. And he does not like that is his role. But it is.
Too bad.
Too bad, Jeff. Then Coulson calls him to check in on their mission. And he tells Jeff that they have found the original Ada. Her name is Agnes Kitsworth. And she's an Australian immigrant living in Spain.
So Mallory Jansen gets to use her native Australian accent for her dual role.
I was wondering. That's cool. I did also, I changed the word that they used because they called her an Australian expat living in Spain.
Yeah.
But I don't like the term expat because you're just an immigrant. And I feel like there are certain people who get to be an expat and certain people who get labeled as immigrant, and then immigrants get a bad rep. So
that's very true.
Yeah. They're all just immigrants, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So then Coulson, of course, gives Jeff a much-needed pep talk and reminds him that he is needed on this team and he will figure out where he fits in eventually. So then Coulson confronts Agnes, and she is reasonably irked to have some stranger come in and bring up her past with Radcliffe. She scoffs at the idea of it being their work and says that she actually never wants to see that man again. Mac then shows her a picture of Ada, and she looks awestruck as she says, he actually did it. Senator Nadir is in fact freaking out about the UN thing, as they predicted. The watchdog with no name arrives and tries to threaten her. He says that since her brother had the inhuman gene, that means that she's a carrier at best and still makes her part of this plague. So plague in quotes. So he smashes a crystal in front of her, and then to his dismay and her delight, nothing happens to Nadir, but the watchdog screams as he's covered in his own cocoon. And then Nadir has just enough time to laugh at him before the cocoon explodes, blowing out her entire office and everything and everyone in it.
Boom.
Boom. Mic drop. As S.H.I.E.L.D. watches the news coverage for this, Daisy reminds them that all known Inhumans were accounted for by Daisy herself, so she knows that none of them did this. But no doubt this will make Nadir a martyr for her cause. And all of this was said before the newscaster confirmed that Senator Nadir is in fact dead. So now she is a literal martyr for her cause.
Yeah. Yikes.
Daisy awkwardly says that they can't be that sad about it because she did try to kill most of the people in this room. But Jeff says that they could have brought her to justice, and now they'll never get that chance. But they're still going to do the right thing, so he tells everyone to pack up and that they're heading out. To where? I don't know. The funeral? What? Where are you going? What's the right thing? But this was interesting because when we first started this, one of the things that you told me you loved about this show is that S.H.I.E.L.D. never wavers from trying to avoid killing as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that Daisy has kind of found a gray area, right?
Yeah.
Of like, obviously I don't like that someone is dead, but
you can't be
her
too
being
sad
dead
about it.
kind of, yeah. We did kind of, this helps us a little bit. And then Jeff being like staunchly, no, this is not a good thing, and we are going to be sad about it, actually.
Yeah.
So I liked that they still had that in there. Agnes reluctantly explains that she and Radcliffe didn't work together. They dated. And he was a fucking nightmare, obviously. We've met the man. Even before the Darkhold. Yes.
Yeah.
He was a nightmare. And then when she found out that she has a brain tumor that can't be removed, he left her because he couldn't handle his own sense of failure enough to even just be there for his dying partner. So she moved to Spain to live out whatever time she has left on her own terms and away from any people who would pity her. Coulson tries to force her to work with them and intimidate her into helping them find Radcliffe, but Agnes says that she wakes up and faces death every day, so she's not scared of anyone anymore, which, good for her.
Yeah.
Also, fuck Radcliffe. Fuck him. Oh, God.
And it's like, it's so interesting to me how losing May really has, like, clouded Coulson's judgment, because it's like he hears Agnes's story, but he's not listening to her.
Yeah.
He immediately goes, yeah, that's great, but we need you to help us find him.
Yeah. All he hears is, oh, so you have a strong connection to him, so you can be our bait. You can lure him out.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Coulson.
Poor Coulson. He figures it out eventually. The rest of the S.H.I.E.L.D. team makes it to Nadir's office, hoping to solve the crime. That's where they were going. Daisy tells Mace that they've got the crime scene. He needs to go talk to the press. And he says, I guess I'm the mascot. As if that hasn't been his job the whole time.
Did they not hire a new PR guy after Burroughs left behind an opening?
Truly. But also, like, even before, when he and Coulson were still, like, the only ones who knew about the dynamic, Coulson was like, this is why I hired you, so that you could handle the press, because you're better at talking to people. You have a better image. This is you are the mascot, and you have been the whole time. Anyway, so Coulson comes back to Mac and says that he's got Agnes's address and they can go take her into custody. But Mac says that Coulson's going to have to do that alone because he is out. He's not doing that. Mac thinks it's too cruel to force Agnes to see Radcliffe again when all she wants is peace at the end of her life. Mac also says that they don't even know for sure that Radcliffe has May, much less if she's even,
Yeah.
Coulson is shocked and fucking pissed that Mac would be so willing to give up on May. He says he's not giving up and he's going to make Agnes help them whether Mac wants to be part of it or not. Oh, love makes you do crazy things.
Truly.
At the office, at the senator's office, Fitzsimmons are not finding any trace of an actual bomb. Only the aftermath of the explosion. And some little pieces of things on the floor. Daisy has gotten the security footage that finds that Tucker Shockley, the nameless watchdog that now has a name, was the last person to enter the office. So if he's not one of the other bodies in the morgue, then they have found their bomber. How lucky. Tucker makes his way barefoot back to, the land base that the Russians have in the city.
Apparently.
They always find just, abandoned buildings and stuff that have working locks on their doors. Ivanov is pissed that Nadir was killed because Tucker was supposed to bring her to Ivanov no matter what happened. Tucker lies and says that when he smashed the crystal, Nadir turned and then exploded, and he doesn't even know how he got out. Tucker begs for a chance to prove himself, and so Ivanov chokes him harder and asks how he's supposed to trust Tucker. So Tucker squeaks out, "You are my superior." So Ivanov releases him and says that's all he wanted to hear. This is a crazy horny episode. We have a shirtless Jeff and then BDSM Russians. This is crazy.
I literally wrote down my only note for that scene was vaguely erotic.
Yes.
Not that my note was vaguely erotic. That was the entirety of the note. Vaguely erotic.
Yeah. But Daisy and S.H.I.E.L.D. have found them already. Wow. They infiltrate this Russian base, and they're, going in, ready to see new explosive weapons that they've never encountered before, and they have no idea what to expect. Coulson shows up at Agnes's door, and he's decided on a different approach, thankfully. He apologizes for being an ass earlier and explains the situation with May. He's very, open and vulnerable here, and I applaud him for that. Agnes is horrified. She says that while she's obviously not his biggest fan, she doesn't believe that the Radcliffe she knew would have killed someone. She says that he's always been about preserving and prolonging life. Which is what he said to Fitz that made Fitz know that
he was
an android. So,
yeah.
Coulson says that Radcliffe is now under the influence of something extremely dark and powerful, and he may not be the same person that she once knew. So then he uses Agnes's own words from earlier and says that May deserves to live out the rest of her life on her own terms too. Agnes takes a moment and then asks what she needs to do. Also, she meant that as like, I only have like months or weeks left of my life.
Yeah.
Spend it how I want. And he's like, May deserves to live a full life.
Yeah.
The life that you're not going to get to live, but she deserves it too. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Coulson.
So Daisy is trying to get Tucker to talk and tell her where Radcliffe is. She says that he's lucky to be in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody and not the FBI. But he condescendingly says that he will only speak to the director because she's such a freak. So then she quakes him in the face, which was great. Also, potentially, like, knocking the guy behind him unconscious from their, like, bowling ball heads clacking together. I don't know. That was crazy. And also, like, if that was what I saw, is the other guy get hit in the head and just, like, fall, but Tucker did not go unconscious, I feel like that's a clue that he's inhuman. That they should have caught. Radcliffe gets a message from Agnes on a post-humanist subforum. So, like, Reddit? Like, dark web Reddit?
r/subhumanist. Wait, no, posthumanist. r/posthumanist.
Anyway, he gets the message and immediately has to leave. Ada demands to know why Radcliffe is being evasive, so he shows her pictures of Agnes and tells her that she had to be modeled after someone real to avoid the uncanny valley effect.
So Ada mentions the uncanny valley phenomenon during a conversation with Dr. Radcliffe. The uncanny valley, for anyone who doesn't know, is an established human reaction to human-like robots. I don't know if it's just to robots, but regardless.
I don't think it has to be just robots.
Defined as the range of negative reaction caused by a robot or anything that appears between barely human and fully human.
Yeah. There's lots of theories about it, and it does get kind of freaky.
Yeah.
To be like, why do we all have this innate fear of something that's, like,
not
kind of human, but, like, not right? Yeah. I feel like the thing that makes the most sense to me is that, like, because there were other humanoid beings before, they're like Neanderthals and like, because we're Homo erectus, and then there was, like, other homos, and I feel there's, like, a theory that we react that way because those other species were like us but not like us, and so we had to have some kind of
differentiator.
Yeah, something to make us not want to, like, mate with them, I guess.
Yeah.
So we have to have some kind of repulsion. I don't know if that's true, but that's the thing that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
But I do think it's fascinating. And terrifying. Because what if it wasn't? What if it was something else? Anyway, Radcliffe says that now Agnes needs him, so he has to go help her. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure she needed you when she got her diagnosis, but now you're going to come running. Just something's not adding up here. So Fitzsimmons are in the lab testing the pieces of what they assumed was bomb casing, but they quickly realized that it was actually inhuman husk. and that Tucker was the one who exploded. So they rush out to the garage where he's being held before he blows them out of the sky. Daisy and Jeff finally agree for Jeff to talk to Tucker. Just as Tucker is about to blow and assassinate them, Fitzsimmons rush in to warn them that he is the bomb. He's the bomb. So everyone runs away from him, and Daisy, quakes him back, and then Jeff rushes him to try to push him into the holding cell, which was very brave to do on his own without his strength. Look at him go. Fitz realizes what he's doing, and he runs to help as well. And I just was thinking, Simmons said that Jeff would never be Captain America, but this is the parallel of Steve jumping on the grenade at his training, so I loved that. Look at me catching references and parallels.
Look at you. I'm so proud.
So they get him in the cell and then get the cell out of the plane just in time for the explosion. And I guess this cell cannot handle it can handle everything except explosions. It can handle the fucking Ghost Rider, but it can't handle an explosion.
Well, to be fair, it couldn't handle the Ghost Rider either. He for sure broke out.
You're right. But he didn't blow it to pieces.
Yeah.
Anyway. Simmons is understandably furious and terrified that Fitz risked his life like that, but everyone seems to be okay, thankfully. Even Tucker, somehow, while the pieces of the holding cell are strewn around on the ground, Tucker's body comes back together and he reappears naked but fully formed. A stranger drives up to ask if he's okay, and he says he was in an accident and he needs a ride. He does not have an explanation for being naked, though, which I feel like I would have needed that explanation.
Yeah.
So S.H.I.E.L.D. is going over the footage of what just happened, and Fitzsimmons explain the MCU science that Tucker's cells began vibrating faster and then turned him into a flammable gaseous state that will likely reconstitute somehow. They don't know how, but they do assume that he's still alive somewhere. Sure. Totally. Jeff, who's incredibly disappointed in himself for fumbling the ball, him and his football references. And also, he didn't. He saved the day.
Yeah.
But he says that they need to find Tucker before someone else figures out that he's the perfect weapon. He is essentially a suicide bomber who can walk away and no one would be the wiser. So, definitely a very desired weapon, for sure.
Yeah.
And they think that Daisy might be able to control Tucker since she was able to absorb the shockwaves of multiple earthquakes before. So they think that she can, stop his cells from vibrating. But they do seem to conveniently forget that absorbing the vibration of multiple earthquakes basically made her, unable to use her powers for, a year afterwards. So, yeah. But plot, whatever. Sure. Agnes has been waiting at the restaurant for a very long time. She's still at the restaurant.
Oh my god, I was thinking the same thing.
She tells Coulson and Mac over the comms that she doesn't think that he's going to show. They ask her to stay a little bit longer for May, even though May would have stormed off 10 minutes ago. And I do love that she was like, I like her. So she stays, and Radcliffe has a waiter bring her a flip phone. Okay.
Ridiculous that, not only did he not show up, he waited that long to even have the phone delivered.
just to have it delivered. And, like, she was literally about to walk up and leave. What was going to happen if she did? To be that late and then just have something delivered. The waiter already had it.
Ridiculous.
Anyway. So, she answers the phone, as Coulson directs her to do. And Radcliffe tells her that he can finally save her, which is just like him. She tells him that she needs closure, that her dying wish is just to have, like, a real conversation with him, and all he wants to do is prove that he can outsmart death. It pisses me off so much.
Yeah. At this point, like, you don't really care about her. You only cared about being able, like you said, to outsmart death.
Yeah. You just want to be the savior. And so it's about him. It's not about her and, like, wanting to be there for her in her time of need. So it just, ooh. I don't know if there's a word for that, but my word is that it pisses me off.
Yeah.
So, but so when he starts giving her instructions, Coulson realizes that Radcliffe is able to see her somehow, so he must be there. So he tells, Coulson tells Agnes to do what Radcliffe says so that they can follow her.
I would have been like, all right, but which direction is south?
Literally, I was thinking the same thing. Oh my God. I do think that, like, being in a city that is oriented north to south is nice, because I have actually been able to figure that out here.
Nice.
'Cause like the highway just runs directly in the middle of the city, so you have, like, and it goes, like, north to south, so everything is already bisected to, like, east and west anyway.
Nice.
So,
hell yeah.
yeah, that's been cool. It makes it a lot easier. Anyway, tangent, sorry. Tucker has made it to a motel diner, but he's the only one in the car now, and he's got the other guys closed, so nothing good happened to that man, who was nice enough to pull over and check on you when he thought you'd been in an accident, and you were really weird about the fact that you were naked with, like, no scratches on you. So that was rude. Tucker borrows the phone at the restaurant to confess his inhumanness to Ivanov and tells him that he's still willing to be a soldier in their war. He promises to bring S.H.I.E.L.D. to Ivanov. And then the diner owner, who's the dad from Even Stevens.
I wrote that down too.
I see. He is everywhere. He's all over the place. That guy he's like in so many different shows as some guy. He's in commercials, and now he's in this show. He's all over the place. Anyway, so he asks if there's anything else that he can do to help Tucker, and Tucker says, yeah, run. So he does. And Tucker's pre-explosion face is so funny to me. Like, was crazy. He literally looks like they told him to make the face. Like, what would happen if you exploded right now? And he's like, ugh! But then they showed it. Anyway, so then we're back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daisy says frack.
During preparations for a mission, Daisy utters the frack expletive from Battlestar Galactica.
That was so funny. Okay. I feel better about it now that I know that it's a reference to something else. But I was like, really? There's like a million things you could have said.
It would have been so funny to have her just say, oh, frick.
Yeah. Anyway, so she is trying and failing to counter the vibration simulations that Simmons has put together. She just ends up igniting it sooner. But they have run out of time. Jeff and Fitz come in and tell them that Shockley has blown up a motel, and it is game time. Game time! Another one. Agnes is still being led/lured by Radcliffe. She finally reaches his car, and he tells her that he's done with robotics. He's found a way to cure death itself, and he calls it the framework.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Also, he didn't... We can talk about it later. He did not cure death. She is still going to die. She just doesn't know it. Anyway. He says that she wouldn't even be the first test subject. He's got someone in the framework right now, and they're thriving. He forgets to mention that it was against her will, and that it's not the real world, but details. He promises that he can give her a full, happy life. And I have a lot of things to say about that, but I think I say it later. I'm pretty sure I say it later.
Technology is already so ephemeral that, shit that you put online could disappear within 5 years, regardless.
Truly.
What makes you think a framework is gonna hold up?
Yeah.
Regardless.
Details. So, Coulson and Mac are racing to get to the car when Agnes pulls out her earpiece and steps on it. She's fallen. Hook, line, and sinker. She's fallen for his trap. And so she gets in the car with Radcliffe, and Mac and Coulson watch them drive off before more Russians pull up and start shooting at them.
My thing was, they turn the corner, they see Radcliffe, they yell, "Radcliffe!" And then they pause.
They gave him so much time. To be like, "Hey, we're coming for you." and then give him a head start. Yeah. That was crazy. So, hang on. Actually, do I? Okay, yeah, I do have, I put the questions later. Cool. I wanted to make sure that I didn't just think it. So Daisy faces off with Shockley and decides to wear him out by forcing him to blow up instead of trying and failing to hold him. So the rest of the team is getting their little vault ready for him. And just as they do, they see other headlights in the night. Russian headlights. Jeff decides that his place on this team is going to be the blocker. My God. The sports stuff, I can't. It's very effective because I know exactly what he means. But, oh my God, enough. So he takes another injection, and then he tries to stop a Jeep. He doesn't do anything about the other vehicles that are, right behind it and can easily just drive around. They could have just skirted around him. And they absolutely do. But they surround him. So then Ivanov gets out, and the Russians all get out, and they surround Jeff. And Ivanov tells him that he was their real target all along, and they're happy to leave Shockley to the wolves, or Daisy in this case. Jeff starts to fight, but they end up taking him out with multiple cow prods, and he goes down so fast. Regardless of his strength, he goes down so fast. So Daisy makes Shockley blow up one more time, and then Fitzsimmons arrive to suck up all of his essence into the vault ball thing.
Suck him up like a vacuum.
Like a vacuum. So really, Jeff finally found his place on the team, and it was to give their enemy exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah.
It was hostage. So Ada is preparing Agnes to enter the framework. And I'm just, like, she is still dying of cancer. Like, the framework isn't going to affect her body. Does it change how they perceive time? Because if not, like, she's still only has whatever time she has left. So, like, she could just have, like, a couple months left. And so then that's still cut short of whatever she wants to do. Or it, like, bends time in their brain so they perceive it differently. I'm very confused about how this works. But it doesn't matter. It's done now. Radcliffe looks immensely proud of himself. I'm glad somebody is. I guess. In the Quinjet, Coulson and Mac are talking about how sad it is for Radcliffe to have tricked her like this. Coulson says he understands why she took the risk, and he would have done the same thing. Mac starts talking about letting go again, and Coulson says he is definitely not letting go now. He heard Radcliffe say that they already have a subject thriving in the framework, so that means that May is alive, and so he will never stop. Which, like, I mean, good, because somebody needs to save May, but also, holy shit, Coulson. You used a woman's, like, deepest trauma so that she would be bait for you, and then you lost her to the person that she didn't ever want to see again. And you're still not even, like, sorry? Anyway. Oh my god. So now it's time for the post-content content. Agnes is in her framework life. In real life, Ada tells Radcliffe that there is no way to sustain her body for long. So that answers one question. Or no, it doesn't. It just confirms my question. Radcliffe says that's okay because her consciousness will exist in the simulation forever. He says that the body will always give up eventually. So is time different to where, like, it's like technically there is an infinite number of numbers between 1 and 0, right? It's like that? Or is it like that kind of forever, or is it that she actually will just exist forever in as like a, I don't know, binary code, you know, a non-binary code. Anyway, so he walks away, and then Ada steals Agnes's necklace, and then she walks away, and then it looks like May is starting to wake up again. Well.
So the necklace that Agnes wears and that Ada takes is an Ouroboros. This emblem of a snake devouring its own tail represents life, death, and rebirth.
Oh my god. I literally, that's like a huge plot point in the book that I was just reading. So, it was the Ouroboros. So, wow, that's crazy. Wow. Everything is connected to everything all the time.
Full circle.
And I guess that's my thoughts.
Nice.
What are yours?
I don't really have any. I liked this episode. I think it was very good.
Yeah. Very horny, but very good.
Yes.
And.
Very horny and very good. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, that concludes our episode on Season 4, Episode 13, Boom.
Boom!
Next time, we'll be covering Season 4, Episode 14, The Man Behind the Shield. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Love you.